Hello, my name is Jonathan Weber, and today we're going to be putting together and playing the clarinet. So, first things first, to grab yourself a reed. You may notice that this is in a case to protect it, as it is very delicate, especially the tip. So, we have to be very careful and remove it from its case. See how thin that is at the top? That is the tip of the reed. Now at this point we want to make sure it is moist, and the way we do that is to put it in our mouth, carefully avoiding our teeth. Now as we put the clarinet together, normally we'd want to keep this in our mouth, but for clarity's sake I will take it out so that you may understand the rest of the directions. Our next step is to take the ligature off of our mouthpiece. Normally they would be together like this. The ligature is the metal part that slides off. You may have to unscrew it to make it slide off easier. Here's our mouthpiece. At this point we will now put together the barrel and the mouthpiece. Mouthpiece, barrel. The top of the barrel connects to the bottom of the mouthpiece. You can know this as the bottom of the barrel is slightly wider than the top. When you put them together, you may need cork grease at the beginning so that they slide together better. But in the end, small twisting motions is how we put them together. After that, we get to put on the reed. Ta-da! You'll cradle the mouthpiece in your, I suppose, non-dominant hand, and you'll hold the reed by the sides with your thumb and index finger, and it should fit nice and snug, the tip of the mouthpiece to the tip of the reed, making sure that the sides align. You'll want to put your thumb on the bottom and adjust as necessary. Keep it firm as we apply the ligature. Now we can't just apply the ligature because we might damage the tip of the reed if you're in a hurry. So what we do is we tap the back of the mouthpiece beforehand so it curves around and cannot damage the instrument, the reed specifically. And it will just go down, and you can tighten the screws. Notice how the top of the ligature is underneath the top of the thick part of the reed. This is so that it vibrates so that you can create a sound. Next, we're going to be talking about our embouchure. Wah. So, in music, embouchure refers to the way we set our face before we play our instrument. In the clarinet's case, our embouchure begins with a whistle face. Some people have trouble making a whistle, so to them I'd say try using a straw, as if you were using a straw and drinking soda. After you make the straw face, or the whistle face, you roll the bottom lip over the bottom teeth, making sure to show just a little bit of pink. After that, we flatten our chin. To which the next step is when we put our bottom lip to the reed, we want to make sure that it contacts at the fulcrum. The fulcrum of the reed and the mouthpiece refers to where they separate. So about right here on the instrument. And it makes contact with the bottom lip. The other thing that makes contact with the mouthpiece is the top of the teeth and the back of the mouthpiece. After this is accomplished, we want to make sure that we have firm corners. To achieve that, we want our teeth to touch our cheek. So very taut. And we'll have firm corners. And then we'll close off around it. After that, we want to think of a yawning, kind of an open O. But our tongue in the back has to be high, as if you're saying ich. Say ich and feel where your tongue hits. Should hit the top of the back of the teeth on both sides. Ich. Open or ich with your tongue. And ich with open. Lastly, we want to have a low angle for the clarinet mouthpiece. This isn't New Orleans with jazz. We gotta keep it low. As we do this, we want our air to be fast and we want it to be forward, straight. Not trying to go down, we want it to go forward. So let's review. Whistle face. Rolling the bottom of the lip over. Flattening the chin. Making contact with the fulcrum as well as the top of the teeth. Making sure that our teeth and our cheeks are touching. We are open as if yawning, but our tongue has to be touching in the back, like Keep the angle low and blow forward. So far, we've gone over how to put together the small piece of the clarinet, the barrel, the mouthpiece, the reed, and the ligature, as well as how to set our embouchure for playing the clarinet. Our next step is to put the clarinet together so that we can play. We'll need to take the upper joint and the lower joint and put them together. The upper joint is the one with two pieces of cork, on the top and on the bottom. Notice how I'm using my fingers and putting them inside. This is so it doesn't slip and fall, crashing into the ground and damaging the instrument. A damaged clarinet may not play. How we'll hold this is in our left hand, and we'll want to make sure our middle finger is holding down the bridge key, as well as our thumb is holding down the register key, cradling it. After that, we'll want to pick up the lower joint. That one is longer and does not have the cork on top. We'll cradle this in our hand by putting our first index finger and our pinky on these two keys, as well as the pad of our right hand against this guy. This is how we'll hold it as to not hurt the instrument. If we put it anywhere else, we may damage it by hurting one of the rods, by bending one of the keys, and any of those can potentially stop us from playing. So again, the right hand, index finger, pinky finger, and pad of our hand on the lower joint and on the upper joint, on the bridge key, and on the register key. We'll put these together like so. You may need to use cork grease if this is the first time that you've put them together. And you'll want to use slow back and forth motion. And there you go. After that, you want to apply the bell to the bottom. That right there. The bell is exactly what it sounds like. Like a little tinkling bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. It goes on while you hold in the right hand the same way you did a moment ago, the lower joint, and you combine it with the bell. Again, small rotations, and it will go on very easily. Our last step is to combine with the small piece, the mouthpiece and the barrel. If you haven't already done it, you need to take off the reed and the ligature. Trying to hold them may damage the ligature as well as the reed. Unscrew it, slide off the ligature, very carefully as to not hurt the reed, and take off the reed, putting it in a safe place. Similar to earlier, holding the upper joint, left hand, putting it on your knee, and small back and forth motions. There we go. You want the open face to be in line with the register key. Lastly, all you have to do is put back on the ligature and the reed. Same as you did before, on the sides, holding it with your thumb as you grab the ligature. You hit the back and you slide it on. We're nearing the end of our clarinet tutorial, and our next step to talk about is the hand position while we play the instrument. Let's take a look at the right hand, specifically the thumb that holds the brunt of the instrument's weight. We want the thumb fingerprint to be touching the instrument and to slide up to touch the thumb rest, and it should specifically be making contact with in between the tip of the thumb and the first knuckle of the thumb, right in here. And as you touch the tone hole on the other side, you'll be making a C, as well as with your other two fingers. You'll notice that they're actually at a downward position instead of at a sideways. This is to help make sure that we're accurate in playing. Also, one thing that you want to be aware of is that you're using the pads of your fingers and not the tips. This can be shown by putting extra pressure on your fingertips, not while playing, but by making sure that it looks like that instead of like, wait for it, that. If you use the tip, you have the chance of letting air leak out of the instrument, and any leak may cause a squeak, not allowing you to actually play it. Our last step for our right hand is to make sure that the pinky stays close and it hovers over the F or C key. If it were to go far out, you're going to need to take a lot of work to get it right back. And we know the clarinet is not known for its easy plays. No, it must be close so that you don't use much effort to get it there. Many of these things are true of the left hand. The thumb of the left hand needs to be covering the back tone hole at about a 2 o'clock angle. But it needs to be just high enough so that in an instant you can hit the register key. You don't ever want to pick it up because now you're no longer covering the tone hole, which will mean you're playing a wrong note. So it needs to be able to touch and cover, like a rock and a roll. Rock and roll, rock and roll. Again, the other fingers will make a C with the rest of the clarinet at a downward position, keeping in mind the 2 o'clock, and the pinky needs to be over the E or the B key. Again, making sure that you don't get too far away. You waste energy and you'll be a tough clarinet player having to move so far away. Our last step is to make sure that it stays close to our body. Again, we're not jazz. This is Louisiana jazz. This is professional clarinet playing. We're nearly there, the next consideration that we need is how to produce a sound on the instrument, our clarinet. We'll be doing this on a low G, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all of our fingers down except for our pinkies. But they will be hovering close by on the E, B key and the F, C just in case we need to use them. Let's form our embouchure. Whistle face. Rolling over, flattening out the chin. Fulcrum on the bottom of the teeth, bottom of the lip. Top of the teeth touching back of the mouthpiece. Making sure that we're open as if about to yawn, but the back of our tongue is touching the back of our teeth as if we're saying the ich noise. And then we'll blow straight ahead. Ready? Notice how I'm breathing with the sides of my mouth instead of trying to take off my mouth to breathe. This means we don't have to reset our embouchure every time. Again, saving time for a clarinet player. After that, blowing straight through the instrument, we want to have the tip of our tongue touch the tip of the reed very quickly, as if the reed is hot and we're going to burn our tongue. So starting with just air and then touching the tip. After that, we want to continue touching with the tip of our tongue, starting with air and continue touching with the tip of the tongue. Now, we get our final challenge, which is starting with our tongue touching the tip of the reed. At this point, I'd like to play a small tune for you, demonstrating what a good clarinet tone should sound like. All this is Mary Had a Little Lamb on F, G, A, and C. Now we're going to cross the break. Crossing the break is a term used by clarinet players, and it may feel uncomfortable to you at first. However, with practice, it will become much more natural. I will demonstrate crossing the break going from an A, which is just this up here, to a B above it, which is putting down all your fingers, including the register key. You may start slow at first, but you want to begin getting faster so that this first finger rolls and is not picked up, but rolls back and forth. So let's start above and go below. To demonstrate this in action, I'm going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb starting on B.